Still goes on 2 seconds too long.
It's too long.
Hey, what's happening, boys?
How are you, man?
I feel like shit. No, I don't. I feel good. I just did a full day of tattooing, so I feel great. Welcome to everyone listening. I hope they're doing great as well. I hope they just ripped a sick tat. This is Rats Get Fat.
I'm Jake Stratton.
Yeah, I'm Zuzz, Zuzzy Royal. And today with us, we have a special guest.
Very special guest.
Introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, my name's Al.
Al, in the house.
Al's in the house.
Woo!
All the way from Byron Bay, everyone. Black cats don't cry on Instagram.
They don't.
They don't.
I've tried.
You've tried to make a black cat cry.
yeah.
It's dark.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
It's already
Cut
started.
that. Let's cut that.
Yeah, cut that out.
I just
I'm just
teased it.
kidding.
Cut that
I
out.
just
Peter
teased it
are
a
going to
little
come for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Animal rights groups.
Yeah, Peter. Sorry,
Let them-
Peter.
Let them. I saved pigs. I watched Jake save a pig.
We did. We saved a pig. Anyone who listened to
Shout out to the first episode.
the introductory episode where it was just me and Zuzz,
Yeah, yeah.
they would have heard the sweet pig story.
We deeply care about animals.
We
Yeah,
love
you've definitely
animals.
got some credit from that story, I think.
Dude, it was wild. It was a
Brownie
wild ride.
points. Yeah. Yeah. Sounded insane. It's insane.
Dude, it was-
Absolutely
it was-
incredible.
Dude, it was ink sanity.
Yeah. It says a lot about
With a
you
capital
guys.
ink.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
It's funny, like how many people use like the play on ink.
They do use it a lot.
It's everywhere you see. We were just at the expo in Melbourne, and we were across the way from a tattoo shop called the Incredible.
Incredible.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Dude.
It was wild. I'm
Yeah.
gonna shoot a little hot story right now, real quick for you guys.
All right.
So anyway, this tattoo shop, they were about 5 or 6 bays long, so it was about maybe 10 meters. And they had hundreds of little designs that were like cut out on bits of paper that were just like sitting very neatly like together just on the top of their tabletop. Anyway, because of how hot it was in the expo, our friend Aaron, who runs Few and Far, absolute lord, shout out to Aaron,
What a ledge.
thought he'd do the right thing and cool the boys down and turn this big industrial air conditioner that was sort of at the end of our aisle.
Yeah, I had a big fan.
So Aaron's sort of wheeling it and didn't realize, and like thousands of these like little designs just like flew off the table, and all the people at the tattoo shop were screaming for him to stop. But he was in like motion, and it was so heavy that he couldn't stop. And it was just
stop,
like,
yeah.
it was just keep going, and they're screaming at him. "Ah!" And he was just like, I'm sorry. And he's like still doing it. It was so good.
It was like something out of an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
You know, some guy on a machine gun
Praying and
and
spraying.
it accidentally shoots his mate. He's like, oh shit.
Yeah, but it's like, it's already
Yeah,
happening.
yeah, it's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Few and Far Studio for prints.
Dude.
If you're a tattooer in Australia doing prints, Few and Far Studio
Yeah, they rip sick prints.
in Brisbane. Best
Aaron's a
dudes.
ledge.
Best dudes I know.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Anyway, that was my little
Your little spiel, your little story.
little quick one.
Hell yeah, just a quick one.
I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. I'd forgotten you told me that story.
Yeah?
And I'd forgotten it. So it was kind of like you were telling me for the first time.
Because you were there.
count.
You were there in Melbourne.
I was there, but I wasn't tattooing.
You're just
I was just there to hang out with you guys and some other friends
Dope.
that were down there. So I think what happened is I came back. I left for the day that happened, and I was out doing my own thing because I was like, when you're not tatting at a tat convention, it's kind of like, unless you're getting tattooed or you're tatting, there's only so much you can handle. Well, for me anyway.
It's a
Otherwise, I find that I'm just like,
Overwhelming.
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Or just like you walk around, and you're kind of like, okay, what am I doing? What am I doing here? You know what I mean? You get like it's a little bit much.
Yeah.
It's totally too much.
Yeah, I'm very like, I get overstimulated, light sounds and stuff. So anyway, long story short is I left for the day and I was like, I'm going to go and just like do my own thing, went for a walk and stuff. And then came back and I noticed that the big air conditioner was facing.
It was facing us.
I know. And I was like, what? Was that always like that?
Thanks, Aaron.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Thanks, dude.
Yeah. I didn't know Aaron.
Oh, okay.
No, I'd never met him before. So I met him there through you guys.
Yeah, he's such a sick dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
nice
he's
dude.
cool.
Came down from Brisbane to hang out with us for the
Yeah.
weekend.
What a
Hell
lord.
yeah. He's like crashing on our couch.
Yeah, sick.
was
Yeah,
fun.
and he
Sick.
copped this tat. He copped this like real hectic like color tat.
Yeah.
And so like to not fuck the couch in our like Airbnb, he was like having to like flip the cushions of the couch so it was like the black side, like the underside of the cushions. So he was like
Ooh.
sleeping on the couch upside down.
Ooh.
And
Hell yeah.
I was like, man, thanks so much for not like leaking on
Yeah.
the cushions.
You
Yeah.
definitely leaked on the cushion.
Yeah.
on the bed.
Yeah, I definitely put tattoo ink
Dude.
all over the bed, but that's all right.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, it was like white sheets and everything. You just got your fucking knee ditch.
I reckon the
disgusting.
cleaner would walk in and say, "Why is the cum black?" Because
What the hell? Why is it black this time?
Because it's always, it's always there.
Yeah, it's why they
in the
put white
hotel.
sheets.
Yeah, white sheets. Yeah, but yeah, they would have been bamboozled.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is it black?
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Someone's being abused.
Surely they would know. Like that must be a
tattoo
thing.
ink.
Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like people must wreck people who travel to get tatted.
Dude. With
Oh,
how many tattooers were staying in that building, it would have been like a
yeah.
big thing that
Yeah, 'cause
weekend.
you-
Like, what the hell is happening with all the bed sheets?
That's right. I forgot. You
why
guys
is
were
it all
like,
black?
yeah, you guys were in like the Tat
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
where
There
everyone
was
was
so
staying.
many people
Yeah.
staying there.
It was the Tat Hotel, man. There was just all the tatters were staying in one hotel.
Was that by accident or was that
No, I don't know.
Did
We
you guys know that everyone was going to be there or no?
No, we didn't realize until like the last night. We
Yeah,
were like,
okay.
yo, where you staying, man? And then they like gave the
Foots
address.
Cray.
Oh,
we were
okay.
like, oh, us too.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, no way.
Everyone's staying in Foots Cray.
Hell yeah, dude.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it was a cool place.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Sick.
like we were asking every tatter. They were like telling us, and I'd say, "What floor you on?" And they'd go, 11 or like 6, and I'm like, "Oh, that's too bad." And they'd say, "What floor are you on?" I'd say, 28.
No way.
We're top of the tower,
You were
baby.
really at 28.
Kings
Yeah.
of the castle, mate.
Full top of the tower, which
We're
is
like-
crazy.
Almost too high.
Looking down on all the peons.
It was-
Nah, wait, they're not peons.
It was too high.
Yeah.
It was
Do you-
too high. I
do
felt
you-
nervous.
Yeah. Do you get weird? Like, do you get that thing, anxiety, when you look over the
Dude.
balks?
Yeah.
You do?
You get weak in the knees. You're like, oh,
I
shit.
can't do it.
Yeah,
I really can't.
it's insane. Eh?
He tried to get me to make a bet. And we're like sitting on the balcony eating chips and
Yeah.
shit on like our last day. And he's like, looks over at the neighboring balcony. He's like, Zuzzy, how much money would it take for you to climb over this balcony and onto the neighboring one? I'm like, oh,
And,
I don't know.
And mind you, it was like to have done that maneuver.
It was
you
pretty
would have
sketch.
had to pretty much hang your body off
Over the fucking 28
28
floors.
floor, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I said
oh.
both feet on the other balcony
both
and then
feet,
back.
and then back again.
Yeah, how much?
And I was like, I didn't really think about it. I'm like, $500. And Jake's like, really? I've got $500 in my bag right over there. Do you want to?
Shit. I said,
Do you
do
want to
it.
give it a go?
Do
I'm
it
like,
right now.
I'm like, actually no. Like
He changed his mind.
I completely reneged as soon as I'm like,
Reneged.
as soon as it came to crunch time, I'm like, no.
He changed it to $5,000,
Yeah, I was
which
like-
is quite a hike.
Dude, I was like, actually, $5,000.
Too much.
Just times that by 10. You know?
Too much
Yeah. And then and you were like, all right, do it. I'm like,
for $5,000.
I'm like, give me the money.
Not that I had $5,000.
I'm like,
by
give me the
way.
money first, and then I'll do it.
But dude, I just would have loved to have seen like some like wild like
Man, I would have had the shakiest legs. I would have been
Tattooing,
shaking, like-
tattooing is
Steve.
the tattooing's the only place where like that will happen. Like where your boss will be like, "Hey, climb over this balcony."
Yeah, come on.
There's no place left.
keep in danger.
Yeah. Every
Yeah,
other
500
industry,
bucks.
it's like that's harassment.
Oh, is it?
Probably. Yeah, it's probably
No
workplace
way.
bullying or something.
Oh my
In
god.
tattooing, it's like, hey, get over that balcony.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all in good
Everyone's like,
fun.
yeah, that's, come on.
Yeah, come on, mate.
For $500.
You know,
Yeah, $500. That's sick.
give it a go.
So real quick as well, we're actually videoing this episode, which is sick.
Hello.
This is going to go straight to the YouTube.
Yeah.
Sick.
So the last episode, little bit of fun fact, we actually did record the entire thing, but my SD card died halfway through, so we only got about half an hour in. So I thought, nah, that's fine. We're not going to post that. So we're actually going to record the entire episode. We're going to throw the whole thing up on YouTube so you can see our lovely Smiling happy faces.
Hell
And
yeah.
Al's happy face.
Yeah.
Sick. I can't see it. Am I on there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you are.
you're right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
One of the happy dinner friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy dinner friends.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude.
Happy.
But yeah, it was wild in Footscray having so many tattooers on the in the balcony in the spot with us.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. You're like hanging out the front waiting for Uber Eats.
And I met like 100 tattooers that I know. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh no.
What the hell?
I was like, what the hell is happening?
No, I just want my ramen.
But then there's like the weird tatters that are like, but they'll like just walk past you and like not like acknowledge you or anything, even though you've met them like 10 times or whatever.
Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like that.
I was gonna say that you've been around a long time now, and you must go to conventions and expos and know most of the people there. Yeah.
A lot of new people are coming up in the industry. A lot of people that are like, that used to do it don't really do it anymore because of how expensive it is to do.
Oh,
But
right. So they're still tattooing, but they just don't do the conventions or the expos and that kind of thing.
They don't want to pay
Yeah.
the big bucks to go and do an expo when
Fair
they could
enough.
just
Yeah.
not, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, there's heaps of people there that I love to see. Zuzz is the same though. I drag him to every expo.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he sees, it's like, yeah, the extended family.
I love it. Yeah.
You guys seem like you do know a lot of people. That's
Yeah.
what I noticed when I was there.
Oh,
Like
sweet,
just
man.
because it's obviously like I had some friends there that had booths and stuff, and I was like kind of hanging around your booth for a while and checking it out, and just standing there watching you guys. Like a lot of people would come up and kind of
Say hi.
say hi, and other tattooists, and it was really cool. It's cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was cool.
yeah,
there are a
It
lot
is
of
cool.
really lovely people that hit up those conventions. They're really, really
Yeah.
sweet.
yeah.
I love-
Everyone's friendly.
I love the Melbourne crew though as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny because like, you know, those people that sort of do blank you, they're not obviously doing it on purpose. They're just like awkward and nervous little artists.
That's a lot
And
of
you're like,
artists
oh,
these days.
hey. And they're just like, oh, no, they don't. They just kind of like look down and just duck past you.
I think a lot of tattooists are like, you know, socially awkward or
Anxious.
different,
Yeah.
anxious. You know, that's why like kind of sometimes it comes off like,
Yeah.
you know, that maybe they're a bit rude or something.
Yeah.
I think
can
they're
be.
just like they're just
Can be.
anxious. They're just like nervous to talk to people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's an interesting thing. It's probably more and more common these days because of the nature of it changing. Like back in the day, you'd have to like kind of, you know, it was a real rough and tumble trying to get into it. So it kind of, I don't know, it would really harden you and make you a bit more sociable. You'd have to like, you know how to wrangle a social interaction. But now these days, like, I don't know, a lot of like art nerds and like quiet kids and stuff are getting into it.
Yeah.
And there's not nearly as much pressure for that kind of stuff. So they can't, I don't know, maybe they don't pick up the social skills as much or they don't have to
Yeah,
necessarily.
for sure.
Definitely. It's a lot of tattooing. It's like a lot of online stuff too.
Yeah.
Like everyone's online a lot now.
Yeah.
You know, social media,
For sure.
like posting, you know, interacting with clients online a lot. It's funny that like I've, you know, messaging tattooists or clients and stuff online, and then you meet them in person. They're really like, they can be really different.
Yeah,
Yeah,
It's
for
like
sure.
sometimes it doesn't come across online,
for sure.
and then like you meet them and they're like just very different personality than how they come across.
Can I just drop a little thing on this?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a friend of ours who owns a tattoo shop down in Tasmania in Hobart. His name's Uber Ben.
Hell yeah.
Loads of people know him. Do you know him, Al?
No, I
Do you know
really want to
Uber Ben?
meet him. I follow him. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Is
So
it?
you-
Yeah. Like I know who he is, of course.
A million people
a
follow
lord.
him. A million people follow him. A million people know him. Anyway.
Yeah.
So I had known Uber Ben a long time through just social media. And yeah, I perceived him to be a certain way where he never smiles in photographs and he's like a real serious and down to earth dude online. And then you go to his shop and hang out with him and meet him. And I went and stayed at his house and, you know, broke bread with him every night and hung out with him and, you know, spent heaps of time with him. And he's probably like the funniest and like loosest and most like goofy guy that I know. And I'm just like, damn, like
That's awesome.
it's incredible,
It's incredible.
dude. He's got
insane.
like 5 little dash hounds,
No way.
like little sausage dogs.
Yeah.
Sick.
And then he's just like this happy go lucky dude.
So
yeah,
funny.
dude.
And I'm like, man, like I love the fact that, yeah, Instagram can definitely portray you in a way,
Yeah.
but then, you know,
Yeah.
in reality, it's different. Anyway, we love you, Ben. if you're listening.
Yeah, good on you, Ben. It's
And,
it's super interesting how we can kind of craft an online persona for ourselves. You know, some people, I guess you get the option of putting in exactly how much you want into that of yourself.
Sure.
It's a bit different in person. You know, you're there.
Yeah.
Like myself personally, I don't really put all that much of myself into Instagram or, you know, the internet really.
Yeah.
I like my private, my personal life being just that personal.
For
You know, before I tattooed or anything, I didn't even have any photos of myself up or anything like that. Like when you first, like, you know, came across me and brought me in to actually have a chat, I think you were just mostly making sure I wasn't some like, you know, giant smelly weirdo, you know?
Yep,
Because you had
100%.
no idea what I look like.
I had no idea who you were.
Yeah.
I just knew you were like sick at art.
I like that.
That's the wildest story to me.
What is?
Like that, like how you and Zuzz met.
Yeah.
Through
I don't want to
Instagram.
ruin it if this isn't the episode for it, but
No, this is the episode.
is it?
Yeah.
You just
why
you
not?
just did
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You just did it, Al.
Dude, it's the craziest story.
Hell yeah, Al. Give it up for Al, everyone.
What about the?
We love you, Al.
We love you, Al.
So anyway, okay.
It's too long.
Zuzz, too long.
It's like 2 seconds.
2 seconds too long.
2 seconds too long, dude.
Yeah, we said that in the first episode,
Yeah.
and we're gonna keep saying it every episode because I'm gonna keep hitting
We're
that
not
button.
going to change it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna keep hitting that button, guys.
Sick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Zuzz, you.
Well, I don't know. With starting tattooing, like I was for a few years, I was in university and I didn't really enjoy that. And I always really enjoyed drawing. So, you know, I kind of dropped out of uni and started drawing again and posting my stuff online, which is like, I don't know what a lot of people do these days. Back then, it was a lot different to how it is now. There was no reels or anything like that. It was more, I think it more revolved around like hashtags for Instagram. I don't think hashtags really do all that much these days. Back
Sure.
then, it was like kind of everything. So I was doing like commission work for a few years, freelance work, and I was working at nighttime just to pay the bills. And yeah, I think this shop had been open for about 6 months at the time. You were looking for, you know, originally a fully qualified artist,
Yep.
but I don't know.
I put loads of ads out like when I opened this shop because I wanted to open this shop as like a real boutique and real special place to get a tattoo. And I thought I'm never gonna like have like within the industry, unfortunately, there are a lot of people that do the wrong thing. They'll tattoo on drugs or drinking or whatever.
Yeah.
I thought, no, I really wanted to like try and build this shop as sort of in the same sort of steps as like Spider Murphy tattoo over in the States, where it's kind of like, you know, just the best trad shop in the area or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and so I did an advert and I got loads of people hitting me up to come and work here, but they were just like blow-ins between shops. They were just like dudes that couldn't work together with shops. They were dudes that were drinking drugs. I thought, nah, you know what? Like, it's too much to have, you know, I don't know, man. Like I didn't want to have some shit going out from my tat shack under my name where people are like, oh yeah, I went to Royal Blue Tattoo and got this steaming pile of shit because the guy was drunk. Like I just didn't want that. I'm like, the money's not worth that for me.
Fair.
I'd rather have just like good quality, and couldn't find anyone suitable with the same sort of morals that I have with tattooing. So I thought, you know what, I've got to train someone. I've got to instill this in someone.
Yeah.
Which I was kind of against. I kind of have worked in a few shops and a lot of shops that'll bring in a lot of apprentices and shit. Like they're not good shops or whatever. But so I didn't really want to hire someone, but I thought I'll give them a chance. And,
Yeah. I think I posted, I don't know, I'd change the hashtags around all the time. I think one of them I just posted like hashtag Cans Artist. You know, I was putting like, you know, 20 hashtags on a fucking piece at a time. And yeah, I think you looked up that hashtag and just found one of my artworks I'd done. Probably my favorite one that I did back then. I was really stoked with it. It did really well. And yeah, I remember you messaged me. I'm like, yo, you ever thought of tattooing? I'm like, Yeah, probably ever since I was like 9.
So wait, so I feel like I'm interviewing you guys now,
Yeah.
which is good. I prefer that.
Yeah. Okay.
But my understanding was that you weren't putting stuff out on your Instagram at the time, like looking for a tattoo apprenticeship, right?
No, I was more just trying to get my name out
Yeah,
there.
you were just doing it for like you said, your commissions and stuff. Because
Yeah.
like that's a thing now I've seen a lot. Like a lot of people do that. You know, they might paint flash, or they'll put their artwork out there on Instagram and they'll say that they're, you know, aspiring to be an apprentice or whatever. But what I liked about Zuzz's story is that
He wasn't seeking it.
yeah, he was just kind of like a dude doing this sick art, and
Yeah.
you appreciated that enough that you reached out to him.
Yes. Yeah.
That's so cool.
He wasn't seeking an apprenticeship. If the roles were reversed and he was hassling me for an apprenticeship, I probably wouldn't have given him one.
Yeah.
Right.
Or if he had aspiring tattoo apprentice in his bio, I probably wouldn't have given him one. It's like, you know what I mean? He was just this like faceless fucking Instagram account that was doing sick art in cans,
Sure.
and not really expecting anything from it.
Yeah.
Which is, in my eyes, the best possible person to put on as a tattoo apprentice.
It's interesting to hear you talk about that, because I just think it's interesting to hear different people's like kind of avenues of how they get into tattooing,
Yeah.
because it's so different. Like some people do talk about like hassling shops, you know, and and they just didn't give up, or they went to 100 shops and got told no, or like got told like, no, your art's no good, come back in 6 months and all that, and then they eventually just keep going and they, you know, maybe get an apprenticeship eventually, which I think is a cool like version too. You know,
For
that's
sure.
awesome, because it shows like someone's like really committed, and
For sure.
like I didn't have that. You know, I had like,
How did you get into tattooing?
dude, I've had the easiest ride into tattooing. I feel really bad about it, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. So the
It's
easiest,
fine.
I just had like a really I feel like for me in my life, whenever I try and make something happen myself, it kind of always goes to shit.
Yeah.
Like I have to just kind of like do my best at what I'm doing. And then usually what happens is I'll get like an invitation of some sort. And then I just have to like be open to the invitation of whatever's next. And that's kind of like how things have happened for me. And that's what happened with tattooing. So yeah, I was just getting tattooed a lot, like heaps. And I was getting tattooed at this one shop in Byron Bay. And I'd known the owners for like quite a few years. And they were like, you know, personal friends of mine, and so I knew them pretty well. And then, yeah, I was trying to get out of the work that I was doing before that, and I was kind of I was just getting tired of doing the same thing. I'd worked in the same industry for like 10 years. I was a little bit like burnt out from it, you know, and getting tattooed a lot. And I was talking to them about, you know, like, you know, when you're getting tattooed sometimes, and you just like, they become your counselor.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
say less,
Yeah,
brother. Say
yeah.
less.
Like I actually struggle with that now, because I'm like, oh, I don't know what to say to people sometimes. But like I was obviously doing that, like, you know, like, oh, I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I know I need to get out of this, you know, this kind of line of work and stuff.
What were you doing before tattooing, Al?
Man, I worked in like corrective services. So like it was like a government job, and I did a few different roles in that kind of work, but I worked mostly in like probation and parole officers.
Sure.
Yeah, so I was a probation and parole officer for a long time, and then I went and worked in jails for a while in New South Wales, and then I got out of that and went back into like community-based stuff. So yeah, like parole work again, and then I got into like kind of management in that, like kind of moved up, I guess, and went into like a management role. Yeah.
All of that like hard work and stress, and now you're just slinging tats.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah,
it's the
dude.
best thing ever. Yeah.
That's sick.
It's the greatest thing in the world.
And you're like traveling and swinging tats, man. You're like, you've been all around. You've been tattooing in Sydney. You've been tattooing up here. You've been tattooing all around.
I have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess like I've been tattooing for about 2 years in I've been tattooing in the first tattoo I did in the shop. I think was February or March 2 years ago.
Sure.
So like I tattooed myself a little bit before that, and you know, because I was waiting for a license in New South Wales, the licensing takes quite a long time from scratch. So, but yeah, because I kind of going back to I guess like how I got into it is I wanted to start a tattoo removal business.
Really?
Yeah, laser.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my mum and my stepdad, they're in medicine. They have a medical practice.
No way.
So I was talking to my mum about it, and I was like, you know, all the medical equipment comes through like their like salespeople and stuff. It's the same kind of thing. It's like laser it's all under the same companies that sell the same thing.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, what, like, you know, who could I talk to about buying one of these tattoo removal lasers? And I kind of was like sussing it out, thinking about how that would work. And then in the meantime, anyway, I mentioned it to the people that became my bosses.
Sure.
I was like, if I started a tattoo removal business, you know, could I like maybe do it in your shop or figure out a way to like kind of get some cross promotion and stuff? And we were talking about that, and then yeah, eventually, like after a while, I just got a phone call one night, and the lady who apprenticed me, she basically was like, you know, I know you've been thinking about that laser thing, but why don't we just teach you how to tattoo? Like it was just totally out of the blue.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, it's crazy because I didn't, you know, and that's what I mean about like the invitation.
Yeah.
It was like, oh my God, this is like an opportunity here. I'd be crazy to say no to that because I knew how hard it was for a lot of people to get into tattooing.
For
For
sure.
sure.
Even now when it's like a lot more accessible than like when you started probably
Sure.
would have been like totally different. But it's still not easy. Like it's hard to, a lot of people don't want to apprentice someone or, you know, I think it's a lot to invest in someone. It's a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
is.
time.
It is a lot of time.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work,
Yeah,
and sometimes it doesn't work out.
sure.
Sometimes people clash and it doesn't work out. Like there's tattoo apprentices in Cairns that have been between 3 or 4 shops apprenticing,
Yeah.
you know, and coming in here looking for a job and shit. And I'm like, nah, mate, not interested. But it's interesting. It's really incredible.
Yeah, because I think like like I hear about like traditional tattoo apprenticeships.
Yeah.
It's like I don't really know what that is because I didn't have one. I didn't have that experience. I had a very like it was very kind of I started in a busy street shop, walk-in shop, and so it was pretty much just like as soon as I was licensed, it was start tattooing my friends in the shop.
Sure.
And then once my tattoos or my friends were like up to scratch, I started doing walk-ins.
Holy, that's wild. That's
it was
so
just
wild.
like here you go. And there's so many good things about that, to be honest. Like there are some really, because you just have to either it's sink or swim. Like you either get good enough, like your skill increases and you meet whatever's going on around you, because there's a lot of other tatters there that have like been doing it for a long time or whatever. And so you have to be, you know, you could be tattooing a matching tattoo with someone who's been tattooing for like 10 years, 20 years.
Wow.
And
That's stressful, man.
Yeah. Oh, super stressful. I remember, I had so many panic attacks.
Did ya?
Oh my God. Even the first tattoo I did is on my best mate
Hell yeah.
in the shop. And I remember I had a massive panic attack before the tattoo.
What was the tattoo of?
It was like this little outline of a Molotov cocktail kind of thing. It was just like a little, it was almost like a little, I would say it was almost like a little Pinterest design.
Hell yeah.
Like it was just a line work thing. And I think I used like a 9-round liner. So it wasn't like fine line or anything.
Yeah.
Where did he get it?
So I was like, originally it was meant to be like on the top of his thigh
Yeah.
because it's, you know, easy spot. And I'm like, great, easy spot. But it was my first tattoo I did on someone in a shop. So I was like, yeah, like kind of like.
You want it to be good.
I want it to be good. I want it to be like the easiest, the least stressful. And then he's just like a really picky guy. So I got there and I'm like,
Is this the straight edge mate you've got?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Everyone who knows me knows who I'm talking about.
Sure.
And I won't mention his name for multiple reasons. But yeah,
You'll get a T-shirt made of you.
Oh yeah, dude.
yeah. No comment. So
No comment on that one.
Yeah, no comment. But yeah, he got this. He changed the location right at the end. He was like, "Oh, maybe it'll be better here." He had kind of some like weird tattoo, like sort of patchy tattoos around his thighs and stuff that a bunch of people had done. And he had this little gap on the inside of his thigh,
Oh
like
no
right
way.
on the inside,
In the sweet meat.
in the like real stretchy, soft skin.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, so that's where he wanted it. And I was kind of like really naive. And I went, yeah, cool, I'll do that. And it was it was so stressful.
Dude.
So stressful. So I went to the bathroom, had a panic attack,
Sick.
looked at myself in the mirror and was like, you have to do this. I was talking to myself
Yeah.
in the bathroom, in the toilet.
We've all done that.
We've all done it, I think.
We've all
but,
done that.
I mean, I'm happy to. That was the first time I did it. I've done it many times. But yeah, I was like, I kind of psyched myself up to do it.
Yeah.
And then I did it.
Yeah.
And it took me so long.
Yeah.
It took me so long to do it. I couldn't pull a line because I didn't understand, like, I wasn't stretching enough probably. I probably wasn't running the machine hard enough. Like, I didn't know anything about that yet, about, like, voltage.
Yeah.
I was using a rotary machine, so it was, like, didn't know, like, just didn't have the experience of knowing anything about stretch, hand speed, depth,
Just having a rip.
voltage, just trying to get it done.
Dip and rip, baby.
And it was
Dipping and
just, it
ripping.
was definitely not ripping.
and rip,
there was
dude.
no rip. There was
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of dip, and there was a lot of ink everywhere.
Hell yeah, bro.
And there was, yeah. I mean, it looked kind of okay, I guess, for a first tattoo.
Yeah.
It's still there, like it's in there.
Have you fixed it or like gone over it
No,
again? Oh,
I don't.
sick.
I didn't want to see it.
Oh, right.
I've seen it, but I hate seeing it. I'm just like, I mean, it's kind of cool. I shouldn't be so hard on myself about it, but
Who are your main like influences, do you reckon, like in the industry? Like who you look up to?
to be honest, there's so many people, but honestly, like within Australia, like you guys really definitely, and I'm not just saying that, like meeting you guys definitely changed my trajectory in tattooing. I don't think I really had one before I met you guys. I was kind of a bit like, I didn't really know what kind of style of tattooing I was going to end up doing or even wanted to do really. Like I always really appreciated traditional tattooing. But I didn't really, I mean, there wasn't really there wasn't really a lot of that work coming into the shop that I was working in. There wasn't a lot of people doing it. And so I was kind of very lost in terms of like I just thought I'll just do whatever comes through the door. And I just wanted to do a good tattoo because like I was learning and I'm like, felt like my tattoos were kind of like, I could see people in the shop doing sick tats and I was like, or just really technically, applying it really well. And I was like, oh man, I want to be like able to do clean lines and smooth like color packing or nice blends or whatever it was. And then I met you guys. I think I probably followed you before I met you. I don't know how I found you, but then I met you at a convention.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time I met you in person, and honestly, it's very like captivating.
Yeah.
The energy, yeah. If anyone's ever been here to the shop to Royal Blue in Cairns, you'd know what I'm talking about. I think like everyone should try and come here because it's my favorite shop.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
Yeah,
means
it's
the
my
world.
favorite shop. Yeah,
Dude,
I mean, and there's so many other amazing shops that I love, and there's so many cool. I've had to be honest, man, I've met so many cool people in tattooing, and I've been treated with so much kindness. I've really, I know there's people out there that have different experiences, and there's always some people that you're not going to get on with and all that kind of stuff. But overall, it's just been full of awesome people. But definitely you guys, I would say like growing up, it was kind of like I was always obsessed with tattoos when I was a kid. I was like would see people who were tatted and be like, ooh, like it was a mysterious little, you know, because back then it was gnarly, man. Like you wouldn't see people with if you saw someone with like a sleeve, it was like pretty crazy.
Are you talking like within the hardcore scene, the punk and hardcore scene
No,
down in
even-
Byron Bay?
Yeah, well, even before that.
Sure.
Yeah, way before that, you know, like I'm talking like some of my early memories of walking around Byron Bay with my mum. I remember there was a tattoo shop there for a long time, Creative Tattoo, and Creative Tattoo Art, and that was, I think that was like the only shop in town for a long time. And then there's been other shops since then. There's a couple of shops been open for a while. But yeah, that shop, I remember it was like next to this restaurant that I think I remember going to as a kid, and I would see the lights and the flash on the walls, and you know, and there'd be like a motorbike parked out the front or something, and it was just like
Old school.
Yeah, it was pretty old school, and it was pretty cool. It was very like something was really captivating as a kid to see that, and you'd see these dudes walking in there like tattered, and you know, and I'd be like, oh, and I'd want to go and like have a look, and I remember my mum kind of like pulling me away, and just like that
Bad
kind of
people
thing.
in there, mate.
Yeah, or just, you know, like it's obviously it's not
people in there.
like not an environment for a kid.
Come on, Sonny.
You know,
Come in, boy.
they wouldn't have let a kid in there anyway. Like nowadays, like some shops see like kids running around in the shops and
Dude, there's
stuff.
Fuck that.
It's
Holy.
gnarly, man. Yeah.
There's a shop in this town, and they've got a creche in the shop.
No way.
A crash.
As in, like, you bring your kid to your tattoo appointment and just drop
that's
them in
gnarly.
drop them in the play zone.
Yeah. But no, they don't.
there's
Do
a
they?
box-
I swear to God, bro.
There's a ball
Dude.
pit.
That's gnarly, man.
No, there's no ball pit. But it's like, you can just imagine it's like the McDonald's slide thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
built on the outside of the fucking building.
Fuck.
Dude, I swear
There's
to
like
God,
little
bro.
tunnels and shit.
Bring
No
your
way.
kids. Bring your kids.
Wow.
Come on in.
Oh man,
Yeah.
this is where people come to get away from their kids.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's true. Well, when I was like, at least my family, no one in my family had tattoos. No one. I
No,
don't
me
think.
neither,
I don't think
man.
anyone that, like, no, not even an uncle or cousins or anything had tattoos. And so, yeah, definitely my mum. Even though like my parents were like hippies in Byron Bay in the 70s, so they were around like all sorts of wild, weird, and wonderful people. But yeah, like growing up, it was very like tattoos were very taboo, I think, in my family.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed with seeing people around the town that would get tattooed or would have tattoos. And yeah, I just remember that shop, I ended up getting tattooed in that shop
Sick.
years later. It was still there when I was like, I think maybe I was about 19 at that point. I didn't get my first tattoo there, but I got tattooed there. And I got tattooed by a guy called Tom Denham, who was around for a really, really long time. I don't even know if he still tattoos anymore. I don't think he does, but he might. So I don't want to, give anyone the wrong details.
Did he wear only denim?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't spelt the same way.
Okay.
But I get the play on word. He was a rad dude. Like he was a really interesting guy. He was just like an old school tattooer, I guess. But he was a really lovely guy. Like to me, I had a really good experience with Tom, and he had a cool, like he was into cars, and he was like played blues music in the shop, and
Rad.
he'd have a chat to you about
Rock and
blues,
roller.
and just a really like someone. I just thought he was really cool.
What was your first tattoo?
Oh, my first tattoo was not long before that, but my first tattoo I got on the Gold Coast at Gold Coast Tattoos, which was, I think, one of the shops owned by the Branner family, like a really famous tattoo family.
For sure.
On the Gold Coast. Everyone knows, them in the industry, like legends.
I think they're now out in Cooley.
There's
Coolangatta.
I think there's still own Skin FX,
Skin FX.
which is in Surfers, and then there's another couple of maybe another shop or anyway. But that was my first tattoo. I walked in. I think was it a walk in? No, I just walked in there to make an appointment. So I turned up to make an appointment, and I think I ended up getting tattooed like a week later or something, and I got like a big bold full color diamond on the back of my calf, kind of like traddy, like maybe more neo,
Sick.
kind of like traddy, that mid 2000s.
Yeah.
It's my
style,
favorite. It's my favorite era of tattoo
Yeah,
ever.
yeah. Like a lot of your tattoos, you can tell are very influenced by that. It's that time. that kind of mid
It
to
was a
late
really good
2000s.
time.
Bright colors.
Yeah, bright
like-
colors, bold. Yeah, really cool.
Derek
Cool.
Noble and
Yeah.
like Uncle Alan and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, like everyone I think was influenced by like Oliver Sykes, you know, like his tattoos and
Sure.
like the really bright colors, but they were like kind of dark as well with like,
Yeah.
like the motifs were like lots of skulls and like
Definitely.
it was cool as, man. It was so
Yeah.
cool.
And so I guess going back to what you were saying about like music, you know, growing up in, like, I'm 36. So growing up in that era, I was 18 in 2005. So that's when I started getting tattooed. And that was like a big time of, you know, hardcore music and metalcore music was like massive in Australia at the time. And, you know, especially in Byron Bay, there was a huge scene. So I would see dudes like in that scene and they'd have like, it's like young dudes, like 18, 19, and they'd have like full sleeves. They'd have neck tats.
Did Wish for Wings ever used to head down to Byron?
Yeah.
Like, those dudes used to come up here all the time and play shows. And
Yeah.
like Wish for Wings were a band from Sunshine Coast, but those dudes were like 18 or 19. They had full sleeves. They had their full fronts done, their full backs. Like they were just fully tattooed.
Yeah.
Their
So
full
there
necks
was,
and their throats. Like you're just like, what the hell, man?
yeah. And back then, like that, even then, you know, I know, you know, like I said, it was different even in the, you know, in the 90s or whatever, when I was growing up, my first memories of like people who were tattooed. But even then, like all those years later, that was still a big deal. If like a young dude had like a full neck tattoo or a throat tattoo, I don't remember anyone really, you know, venturing into that realm. A lot of people would have sleeves. They wouldn't have hands or throats, or it was very much like you could still cover it with a long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
You know, like compared to these days, I mean, like it's pretty interesting to see the progression.
Times have changed.
Totally. And I think like going back to that shop that I was at, I remember being in that shop, the one in Byron, and a lot of people would get turned away for wanting certain tattoos. You know, they would want tattoos on their hands or fingers or on their
Throat, neck, face.
Yeah, even behind the ear tattoos.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of like young people were coming in asking for behind the ear, and they were getting told no, or not in a rude way, but they were being explained like, hey, you know, this is your first tattoo or whatever, and like, have you thought about how this might affect your employment or might affect your future? And you know, and they would talk them around to like maybe putting it somewhere else, or they would just say like, hey, look, I don't feel comfortable doing that, or I don't want to, you know, put that on you, and you know, you're 18 or 19, 20, and you want to put a tattoo on your hand or something.
Yeah.
And it's because still back then I think that did influence that could affect your employment, or like you know, now it's a little bit different. You can kind of,
It's a lot more acceptable.
yeah,
these
for sure,
days.
for sure. But
I guess like some places, like it's still a bit like iffy.
Corporate life.
corporate life for
jobs.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Back in the day, like I wasn't allowed to get. I remember I wanted to get some writing across my fingers, and my tattooer at the time, who'd done pretty much my whole body, he said, "Nope, not doing it.
yeah,
You haven't got enough tattoos, man."
interesting.
He
Yeah.
said you need 2 full sleeves and your whole chest done before you can get your hands.
So that was the rule. That was like his rule.
It was old
kind of
school.
thing. Yeah.
And I said, "All right, man, no worries." So I got
Yep.
2 full sleeves and my chest done, and then I went about getting my fingers, and then I
Yeah.
got the rest of my hands done.
Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I kind of, you know, I don't have an opinion either way on a lot of that stuff about like, you know, people, because I think, you know, there's people talk negatively about that kind of stuff. Like, oh, you know, people getting tattoos here before they've got tattoos there. And it's like, it's not really my business what people do with their body, you know.
Doesn't matter anymore, man.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I do respect, I think that the ethos of what you're talking about, where it's like, you know, I think what I respect about it is that there's a commitment. I think I like that. I like that you were, you know, willing to commit to something that was very like special, that you're going to get tattooed like so much and spend so much time, and you know, like you're a young dude at the time and you're probably not getting paid a lot of money. So you have to like save up for your tats. And like, I remember doing that. I remember it was like you had to save up for it.
Eating mee goreng and nothing else.
Yeah, yeah. Mee goreng. 2 mee gorengs was like a
Dinner. That was a meal.
That was like a good meal.
Yeah, yeah.
When you got 2,
It's like birthday.
3's too many. Don't ever have 3.
Yeah.
I think the actual powder you mix up is like super salty too.
Yeah,
so if you
yeah.
have like 2's enough, but if you have 3, you just like you get like the midnight like thirst.
Hell yeah.
You just get that.
It's
where
a
you're just
lot
like,
of salt and bad stuff, but I mean, it's
Dude, yeah.
delicious.
but it's like you get paid from work. You work your fucking whatever job. I was working at JB Hi-Fi for many years.
Yeah.
So I'd work JB Hi-Fi, bust my ass all week, get paid, buy mee goreng, eat mee goreng, pay like fuck all rent or whatever, and then the rest of it was just like to tats.
Hell yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like spitting it out as cash. I'm like, well, I'm going to the tattoo shop on Saturday, and
Yeah.
I didn't know how much it was going to cost. Like you don't, so I just would bring $500 or $600 or $800 or whatever in cash,
Sure.
and
Sure.
just like try and say, oh, I'll get $500 worth, please, or however much money I had,
How much you had, yeah.
and then they
that's
could,
really
like,
cool.
tee it all up.
Yeah, I think well, you asked me the other day, we were talking about you asked me about my first tattoo, and we were talking about that experience, and I think I said something about like I was just stoked to be in the tattoo shop.
Yeah,
And I remember being so pumped, and because I just thought like these are the coolest dudes just hanging out, and like cool, people. It was like there was like an older woman who was, I think she was tattooing in there, and it was very like family environment at that shop from memory. It was very like, it was really nice. Felt really, didn't feel unsafe or, kind of seedy or anything. It was really, really good. And and I was treated so nicely and so well that I remember thinking like, I wanted to like impress these people.
Yeah,
I
for
was just
sure
like,
you
I was
do.
this young kid, and I was like, oh, I hope they like me. I hope my tattooist likes me, And I just, I was pumped to just get a tattoo. I couldn't believe that he, I kind of thought in the back of my head maybe that he would just like say no or something, or like kick me out. Or
did it really hurt you? Like your first time, like what was the anticipation in like getting your first tattoo and like
Yeah.
going in and actually receiving it?
I think I was pretty scared for like, I thought it was going to be really bad. Yeah. I thought it was going to be terrible pain. And back of the calf, I mean, probably definitely not the worst spot. But
It's still pretty brutal.
yeah, back of the legs is
totally
not,
painful.
yeah, I think it's a deceiving spot.
Yeah.
Like people think it's easy. It's really nice to tattoo. It's great to
for
tattoo.
sure.
But to cop it on the back of the calf can be pretty brutal.
And healing it. Oh,
Healing it, yeah. But anyway, like it was actually pretty good. Like definitely surprised.
That's sick.
Yeah, and I was kind of pumped. I was like, oh, cool, I made it. Like I thought it was going to like
did.
really kill, and it didn't. It didn't actually hurt that bad, and and the dude was like, the dude that tatted me. I wish I could remember who it was. I can't remember, but he was like, oh yeah, you did really well, man. I know I say that to people all the time because I think it's nice if someone like sits well and
yeah.
gets through a tat, especially one that's like is hurting.
You got to give them credit.
Do you
Yeah.
tell them? Do you tell them when they don't sit well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, do you?
Nah, I don't. No.
I'll say to them,
Sometimes I'll be like, well, they know. Like,
you
you
reckon?
know, yeah, I reckon. Yeah, of course. Like sometimes if people have to tat, like there's no judgment. If you have to, like if you're struggling, man, I'd rather not tattoo someone who's like really, it's hard. I find it really hard to tattoo someone who's like
You feel
dying.
bad.
Or jumping around?
Well, yes, moving is like the ultimate. I can't. Like some people can probably just, super experienced people might be able to rip them, no matter what. But I'm like, if people are moving around and shit, it's like, I can't do it. I'd rather not do it because
Yeah.
I don't want to give someone like a wobbly tattoo.
Yeah.
You know that they're going to blame the tattooer when it's
100%,
shit.
yeah. And
It's
that's
like,
and
what the hell,
yeah,
man? Why does this thing look like shit?
definitely. So I think it's like my responsibility if someone's like moving that much
Yeah.
or struggling, it's actually like it is the tatter's responsibility to be like, hey, I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
Like, let's not do this like,
Okay.
right now. Or, do you need a break at least or something? Or,
Yeah,
come, like, or come back another day. Because, I think there's a lot of, I've learned that from like you guys and a lot of other older tattooists that I've been exposed to and stuff. Just those morals, I think, of tattooing that, I think I'm all for like whatever and progression and evolution of everything.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a lot of morals in traditional tattooing that are really cool.
For sure.
And I like
It never
that.
used to be though.
Interesting.
Back in the early
yeah,
days.
well, tell me about that.
Well, man, like it never used to be. Like it used to be super rough and tumble. The guy was
Sure.
drinking beers and tattooing you, and anything you wanted, wherever you wanted, you'd be able to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
Where nowadays we'll talk and say, "Hey, man, like it's probably not going to work on that spot for these reasons.
Sure.
Like the shape might be off, or
Yeah,
it might go
yeah.
against the grain of the body." But back
Yeah.
in the day, they'd be like, "Yeah, mate, grab a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me just have a VB, and then we'll fucking begin."
Sure.
And they'd just zap you, and you couldn't say anything because you're a bit nervous. You wouldn't want to make it. You wouldn't ask to make it bigger, or
Yeah.
want to
Have it
flip it, or
Facing the right way.
and so people wouldn't pipe up because they were a bit nervous of this like
for sure.
very gruff man that would just sort of
Well, I think maybe then I would say that I've had a very I've probably been spoilt in terms of the way I've been treated in tattooing. From getting tattooed at 18, 19 or whatever it was to now, I've had really nothing but great experiences
That's good.
of actually getting tattooed, I've never been in a situation where I felt like that. But also I'm a guy, like some people, maybe don't have the same experience if they're, I know I've spoken to some, women that say that, they felt a bit uncomfortable when they first got tattooed. There's a bunch of dudes in the shop or,
it can be very
like that would be
intimidating.
super intimidating. It was intimidating for me and I'm a guy.
Yeah.
So I can imagine what it would be like for, young women or young people who, maybe feel a little bit different or something or they don't feel like they fit in and
It's a very vulnerable position you're putting yourself into.
totally, man.
Totally
Yeah.
vulnerable.
So I think it's cool that like you guys are big on that and I try to be as much as possible is like understanding that and being like this person's really in a vulnerable position, just treating them well, making sure they're okay and stuff and a lot of that is like I think just being responsible.
Yeah, checking in with them and
Yeah.
But as well, I thought like I've traveled the whole way around Australia and I've worked in 100 different tattoo shops.
Yeah.
And I sort of cherry picked everything that I liked about my favorite tattoo shops and I implemented them here.
Sick.
And I thought, you know what? I've been tattooed in shops where like there are big windows and there are people peering in at you and all this crazy shit and you're feeling vulnerable and you're feeling nervous and you've got this like extra shit on top of the fact that you're also getting tattooed.
Yeah.
So you're like laying there getting hurt and you're also thinking about other stuff which are making you anxious and it's just not ideal. So I thought like we could cut through that by like creating like a private and safe space for people where they can just totally just relax and get a tattoo. They don't have to think, oh, like all these people are looking at me or
Sick.
or having any like anxiety or anything or being nervous because they have no reason to be.
For sure.
And that's I don't know, like I love the fact that tattoo shops are kind of going down that route, like the ones that you and me would go and work out of.
Sure. It's
You know what
super.
I mean?
Yeah, I like that. There's these shops that are like very professional. Everything's run. Like you guys are really. I'll tell a little bit of a story.
Go for
when
it, please.
because I guested with you, maybe not quite a year ago. It was maybe like 9 months ago. I came into the guest spot. It was my first ever guest spot
Sick.
that I ever did. Was here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Royal Blue.
Yeah, it's my first guest spot. And I came up just for like a couple of days. And anyway, when I came back to the shop that I was working at the time, when I came back there, the crew that I was working with, like a couple of my mates I was working with, they're like, dude, what happened to you in Cairns? They were like, you're so different. Like you're so pumped on like tats and like you're even more, like they're like, you really the way that you're talking to clients is different. And, I think I was a bit burnt out and stuff at the time and, had heaps of stuff going on or whatever. And then I came up here and it just gave me this like injection of just good energy.
But yeah, we really appreciate that, man. That's nice, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what they said to me. So I thought I'd share that with you.
Oh, thanks, man.
But yeah, tatting inspirations. So many people, man. There's so many, man, just look at Instagram. I know it's like Instagram, whatever. Like I like seeing tattoos in person as well. And you can't always tell from Instagram, but there are so many talented tattooists in the world. And in Australia, even like just in Australia, there's so many.
Australia is killing it.
Like so many cool, especially for traditional stuff, like all styles, obviously, but we're talking about traditional tattooing.
For sure.
You know, you've put me onto so many amazing artists and even
Who's your favorite? Who's your number one?
in Australia.
Yeah.
Man, this might, well, it won't surprise you, but there's a reason for this. I'm going to say this and there's a reason for it. My favorite tattooist in Australia is Pete Davidson.
Epic.
Sick.
Epic.
Because of many reasons, but the main one is that he has been tattooing for, I think, 51 years. Over 50. It's definitely over 50. He's tattooed me a couple of times, and he's still tattooed. You can walk into his shop right now, and you can probably get an appointment tomorrow.
Where's his shop?
His shop is in Casino, New South Wales. Now, it was in Lismore for a long time. He was behind Creative Tattoo Art. So I believe he owned the shop that was in Byron. He didn't work there, but he might have owned it, or there was he had a connection with it, basically. It was either his shop or I never knew what the deal was because obviously I wasn't in the industry then. But his name was like a big name around, you know, Pete Davidson had been tattooing in the area for a long time. And he had a shop in Lismore for a long time. And then just before there was some big floods in Lismore a couple of years ago. And I think just before that, he actually moved to Casino, which is about half an hour from Lismore. And it's actually where I've been living, like weirdly.
Wow.
That's sick.
I've been living there for like 4 years. And so before I started tattooing, I was living there. And then, you know, it's just like round the corner from my house. There's this amazing,
Epic tattooer.
just like a wealth of history and knowledge and just one of the loveliest men, like such a encouraging dude to me. And I walked in and got tattooed by him, and I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know, you know, what to expect. I'd never actually met him personally. I just heard about him for years and years and years. And like a couple of years ago when I first started tattooing, I walked in there, I was like, I want to get a tattoo by Pete. And so I went in there and looked through his, man, the amount of flash that is in that shop, like books and books and books of original flash by Pete.
Wild.
You know, and he's got stuff from like all these other amazing artists, like Australian and international artists. And that was just what was there. And I just remember looking through, there's like folders and folders, and like each folder is like a category. So it's like, this is the folder of skulls. And it's like
So
just
sick.
hundreds, dude.
So
It's like,
sick.
or this is lady heads, or this is, you know, like whatever it is. Like there's so many geishas or dragons, and there's just folders upon folders.
Sick.
And I was looking through, I went through the skulls one, and I picked this little skull. I encourage anyone to get tattooed. I got tattooed by Pete, and then I went back again a few months later and got tattooed by him again. And it was just such a cool experience because it's like a window into the past. It's like, but this guy is still...
Just coils?
I believe when I got tattooed, I think Pete used definitely a coil for lining, but I think he was using a rotary
Oh, okay.
for shading. But yeah, I won't go into he gave me some knowledge, and I won't go into that
Oh.
because it's not my knowledge to share.
No, please
You
keep
know,
that
out of
to you.
respect of him, and I think like he's such a cool guy that it was just such an experience just for the chat. It was worth it just for the chat. So I got a sick tattoo, had a great time, and there's so many people out there, I think really talented tattooists that are old and new,
Yeah.
that are still, you can just walk into the shop and get a tattoo by them.
Hell yeah, dude.
So like, all right, go and do it.
yeah.
Go and get tattooed by everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone that you know, all these people that you respect and look up to, go and get tattooed by them, I reckon.
Hell yeah, man.
If
While
you can. Yeah, while you can, while they're still around, and
Dude, yeah.
never know when these people might, you know, stop tattooing or,
I'd love to talk to him on the podcast.
oh man.
Pete Davidson's an absolute legend.
He is,
always
everyone knows of him. Like, I've only just met him. So like there's people around that know way more about his story, and, you know, and he's the GOAT to me.
Sick.
He's the man.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love hearing it.
Sick.
Hell yeah, dude.
Gentlemen, it's that time. Al, thank you so much for coming through dude, we absolutely love to see you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you so much for coming on our podcast and being part of this.
Thanks.
It's sick. It's an honor.
hanging
You
out.
guys are, I'm excited to see what you do with this.
Anyway, guys, thank
thank
you
you.
so much for listening. Everyone listening at home, Black Cats Don't Cry on Instagram. Give him a follow. He's an absolute lord.
Check out his shit.
Thanks.
His
guys.
ends are tight.
Thank
And
you.
he's at RBT all the time. He's at Royal Blue, Tatton.
Traveling around. I'm going to be in Sydney for a while. I'm going to be moving around, but it's all on Instagram.
Hell yeah,
I'll let
dude.
you know.
Follow him.
Yeah. Sick.
Anyway, we love you guys. Peace. Too long. It went for too long.